Okay, so again, multiples, what we say when we skip count. Why would we use multiples for adding and subtracting fractions? What do we think? Zayden?
So wouldn't it help you if you needed to simplify later?
No, because remember, simplifying, that's what we use greatest common factor for. What do we use least common multiple for? Well, okay, least common multiple. Sometimes you might have heard it called a least common factor. Not factor. No, what's denominator? When your denominators are different and you have to find the least common denominator, that is the least common multiple between two numbers. So we're going to use the least common multiple for finding common denominators. This is why we have to know how to do this. Okay?
Shall we write that?
Yes, I would. And again, when we find the least common multiple, we're going to start off by just listing multiples. So, what is my first multiple of 6?
1.
Remember, multiples are many. Factors always start with the number 1, but multiples start with
6.
the number itself, and they go on forever. Multiples are endless because, numbers go to infinity. Yes. Now, the important thing I want you to realize is that 12 is not your first multiple of 6. 6 is your first multiple of 6. So we want to list those. 6, 12, 18, 24, 30. I usually start with about 5 multiples of each. Now do me a favor, guys, especially since we're recording. Let's not just yell out answers. Because remember, it's not always about just knowing the answers, knowing how we got there. Alright, so what's my first multiple of 8? 8, 16, 24. Oh, look what's there.
24.
So once you get to that point, you should see we're looking for the smallest multiple that they both have in common. So our lowest common multiple, least common multiple, LCM would be 24. Yes? Oh, you got it? Yeah, I do believe this is actually a little bit easier than finding the greatest common factor. Okay, let's look at 35 and 28. So what's my first multiple of 35?
35.
Okay, and then we go to 70. Now, when you started doing long division in 4th and 5th grade, do you remember making multiple towers? Where you would do 35 plus 35, and that got you 70. There's your second multiple. Plus 35, that would give us 105. Okay? So this is how you're finding these multiples. You're adding 35 every time. So what would our next multiple be? 140. Okay? I'm going to do one more. 175. Okay? Now let's look at 28. So what's my first multiple of 28? And then we go to 56. Okay, 56. Then what's next? 84. Okay. Then we have, let's see, that will give us 112. 112. Because 12 and then 11. 140. What do you see? So, our least common multiple is 140. And it is the least because it's the first one that they both share in common. Now, again, I told you, my goal for you is to be able to look at numbers. Now, 35 and 28, that was a little bit harder. You can't immediately look at those and go, oh, I know 140 can be a multiple of both. But if we look at 16 and 4, what is the least common multiple of 16 and 4? 16. And we know that because if I were to list my multiples of 4, I know 16 is a multiple of 4. So there will be times, guys, you don't have to show me every single multiple. Now, the other thing is, if you look at this, what is 16 times 4?
16 times
64. So, 64 is a common multiple of 4 and 16. But again, you're looking for your least common multiple. So don't get in the habit of just multiplying the two together. When you do that, you will always get a common multiple, but it's not always your least common multiple. Question? Yes.
So
You want the smallest? Yeah. So, all right. Yeah, you want the least. Because if I were to keep going, if I listed my multiples 16, 32, like 32 is a common multiple of 4 as well. They're going to have common multiples. You're just looking for the least. You want the smallest. Okay? Yes.
Why no number 4?
Okay.
It looks like
We're about to do it. I don't want you yelling out the answer. Again, that takes away from everybody else's learning. And let me remind you again, I am recording. Thank you. All right. Guys, let me say again, it's not just about knowing the answer. Because here's the deal. If you know the answer when they're easier, that's great. But if you're not practicing how to find it when they get tougher, you're not going to know how to find the answer. So I don't want you just immediately yelling out answers, okay? All right. What's my first multiple of 9?
9.
Then 18. What's next? 27. 36. 45. Okay, so let's look at 15. What's my first multiple of 15?
15.
And then we go to 30. 45. So, again, once you see it, you can stop. Your least common multiple of 9 and 15 is 45. Now, it is possible to also find the least common multiple of more than 2 numbers. If you had 3 numbers listed, let's say we also had 3 listed here, 45 would still be our least common multiple. But you can find the least common multiple of more than just 2 numbers. Okay? All right, let's try one more together. What about 7? What's my first multiple of 7?
7.
Okay? Somebody count me off.
14.
Okay?
21.
Got it?
28. 35.
42. 49. Let's stop for a second. Because that's more than 5. Yeah. All right, let's go to 12. 12. 24. 36. 48. 60. 72. Not there yet, am I? And I've listed more than 5 on both, so I'm going to keep going. So we stopped at 49. We go to 56. And then we go to... No. What is the next multiple of 7 after 56? Thank you. Okay. After 63, we go to 70. Then 77. 84. Now, yes, after we go here, we do end up at 84. But guys, we don't know that automatically. Alright, so least common multiple of 7 and 12 is 84. What is 7 times 12? 84. So there might be an occasion where your least common multiple is what you get when you multiply those 2 numbers together. It doesn't always happen, but it can happen. Okay? All right, flip over to the back for a second. I want to show you a couple of things. Okay? Look at number 1. Do you think it's going to be necessary for us to list our multiples on number 1? No. What is going to be my least common multiple?
30.
Okay? Because we know if I'm counting by tens, 10, 20, 30, that's the first one that 3 can go into. Also look at number 16. If you have the same number, we have 25 and 25. What's my least common multiple of 25 and 25? 25. Okay? I will go ahead and warn you, number 17, you're going to have to list a lot. I think you have to go to the 16th multiple on one of them. Okay? But there are a couple that you should be able to look at and just know. Alright? I will say you guys are going to finish all of them. First, second, and third period are only doing the evens. So to this column and the last column. Okay? Again, if you get to some, look at number 8. 20 and 30. What's my least common multiple? 60. Very good. Because I know if I'm skip counting by 20s, 20, 40, 60, and then I skip count by 30, 30, 60, that's the smallest one that'll go into both. Yeah. 19, yeah. Exactly. So when I say you have 25 questions, you technically don't have quite 25. Okay? All right, any other questions on how we find the least common multiple? We good?